This is an update to my Photoshop Generative Fill course as of October 31st, 2025. Photoshop just released its 2026 version. It has a lot of new AI features, but the ones which we are interested in are the new models within Photoshop Generative Fill, such as Nano Banana and Flex models. You can also choose from two Adobe Firefly models, the old one and the new one, which might give slightly different effect. Same as before, in order to use Photoshop's AI Generative Fill feature, you need to be signed up to Adobe Creative Cloud plan or use Photoshop as a trial version. Let me show this to you on the example of one of my photos from Bologna, Italy. This is the courtyard of the hotel where I stayed. Let's slightly increase saturation first. Let me paint the mask over my image, following the instructions from this course, putting more strokes on the areas with more details. Then click on Generative Fill on the contextual taskbar. If you don't see this contextual taskbar, then go to Windows and click on Contextual taskbar. Let's type in some prompt, a style which we want to reproduce or take it from my prompt file. For example, Impressionistic block abstract oil painting. Now let's click on this little icon here. This is new feature in Photoshop which allows us to select 4 different models to create generative fill effect. Let's try all of them and see the difference. The 2 models on the top are Firefly 1 and Firefly 3. These are the native models of Adobe which are incorporated in Photoshop Generative Fill. In our photo painting technique, we generally use these 2 models. The 2 models on the bottom, which are Flex and Nano Banana, are external models which have been incorporated into Photoshop as plugins. Let me first use Firefly 1 as the oldest model of Photoshop. Click on it and select. Then click on Generate, and within few seconds we will have 3 variations generated by Photoshop. If you don't like any of these generations, you can click again to regenerate them. You can do several times until you like one of these variations. Now let's try Firefly 3 model to see how this works. It also generates 3 variations. Well, I don't see that much difference from Firefly 1, but I still believe that we can get more interesting results by using Firefly 1 model. Now let's go back to Generative Fill tab and select the Flux Content Pro model. Hit Generate. Flux will generate only 1 variation per 1 click. The result looks pretty nice. We can get a pretty nice painting, but the issue with Flux is that it generates similar painting style every time we hit Generate. There might be some slight variation, but basically this is going to be the same style, the same painterly style. Even if we use a different prompt for painting, like oil painting or palette knife, or acrylic painting or impressionistic painting, Flux will generate you the same looking painterly style, like this. From my experience, Flux understands well 3 or 4 artistic styles that it can transform or represent. Traditional paintings, like oil painting, then watercolor painting, sketch, like pencil sketch, crayon and pastel. Flux will simulate paintings in these basic styles independently of what prompt variations you will provide. Same concerns Nano Banana model, which is located below Flux. Nano Banana produces nice transformations for painting, watercolor, sketch, crayon, pastel, these kind of basic styles. But Nano Banana, same as Flux, is not able to produce different style variations. from one prompt, same as Photoshop's Firefly. One more thing is that when you transform your photo to painting with Nano Banana or Flux models, they do not require you to paint a mask over the image. With Flux or Nano Banana, you just need to select entire image, put a prompt and hit generate. With these models you can get nice results, but with Firefly models you will have more creativity and control over the brush strokes and the places where you need more abstract or details in your painting. Let me show you this in a few examples. For this, let me use my photo of Amalfi in Italy, with tourists and a lot of details around it. Let me saturate it a little bit. Then I will put a mask around this photo, so I could use it with Firefly 1 and Firefly 3. I will use a simple prompt, in this case watercolor painting. First, I will select Firefly 1 model and see how it works. Let's generate it. Not bad. Looks like watercolor abstract impressionistic painting. Now let's try Firefly 3. Also looks good, almost the same as Firefly 1. Now let's try Flux model. Interesting result, and this is how Flux usually interprets watercolor painting. Now let's see how Nano Banana will handle watercolor transformation. The first attempt is a bit strange. Let's generate it again. Yes, looks not bad, but it does look more like a photographic watercolor. This is how Nano Banana transforms photo into watercolor in most of the cases. Let's try a different prompt, crayon painting. Let's do Firefly 1 model first. Interesting crayon painting, quite abstract and grainy. Let's generate it with Firefly 3. Not bad as well. Now let's use Flux. Not bad, but it looks more like colored pencil sketch, although it keeps details from the original photograph very well. How the Nano Banana will manage this prompt? Usually Nano Banana paints every detail of the photograph itself, although we can see grainy strokes here which remind a crayon painting. Let's continue with another prompt, this time pastel sketch. First we're gonna try Firefly models. The results look okay. Now Flux. Flux result looks similar to crayon or watercolor variation, although it has grainy and pastel look. Nano Banana made almost photographic outcome with some pastel grain on it. Even if I try to add something else to the prompt, for example, gestured strokes, it still performs the standard way. Now I will use Chalk Sketch prompt. Here is the result with Firefly. here is with Flux, and here is with Nano Banana. The rest of my course has been recorded long before Nano Banana and Flux arrived in Photoshop Generative Fill, so we will basically use Firefly models while following my course and my technique. However, you are welcome to experiment with Nano Banana and Flux in any way you want, because they're still great models.